What is up, everybody? It's your boy Duty back again with another video, and big ups to everybody who came out for the grand review of the Local TV channel. Got some good people to come out, some good views, good engagement, positivity, chill, fun, so I appreciate it. If you guys didn't get a chance, you guys can just search for Local TV. If you're not subscribed, I would appreciate it if you would. If not, it's all good. Essentially, the channel will be providing raw DSP content, and I'm going to be adding some other additional fun things to do while we watch the DSP, and have a sanctuary where we can go and watch DSP. And also for any content creators that's looking for Phil Clips content, you guys are more than welcome to go and clip it and use it for whatever you need. It's not a big deal. You don't have to ask, just knock yourself out. And yeah, that's about it. So of course, you guys know Phil had his playthrough yesterday where the tips were abysmal. Oh my lord. And of course, Phil is on the verge of wage quitting Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And you know, if it wasn't for someone coming in, swooping in and dropping a $20 dono and getting him past the tier 1 tip goal, you know, our boy Phil would have probably quit it. And of course, we all know it's just because the game is very difficult, and of course he's not earning the money that he would expect for a AAA game like this. So he's looking for any excuse to quit it. What I honestly think he's trying to do is he's trying to do the Wulong, the Wulong mind trick, where he essentially threatens to quit the game over and over unless he gets buy-in and positivity from his fans. So he'll keep doing it. Every time he'll play it, he'll keep threatening to wage quit it, hoping the dents will come in and drop some money. So let's hear what he has to say. The rap was 12 minutes. I cut that nonsense down just because, of course, Phil likes to just hear himself speak. So this is about 7 minutes. So this is a little bit more tolerable.
Alrighty everyone, good evening and welcome to the Daily Wrap for what was Tuesday, the 9th of May 2023. It was a fun day, a full day of gameplay streaming for the first time in many days. We hadn't actually had a full day of all gameplay since Friday, so it was good to get back into the swing of things with a full day of that today. The Level 1 podcast today, this morning, was actually quite fun because we had game news to talk about. There was stories about Starfield, stories about a possible new Nintendo console, rumors and the like that were swirling. So we covered various topics there, and we had time for some chill Q&A and interaction. Overall, it was a really good Level 1 podcast today that I very much enjoyed, so give it a look here on DSP Gaming if you haven't seen it yet. In addition, we did a full-on stream of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now, herein lies the rub with this game. Alright, I played a full 3 hours of it today. We did an entire dungeon, which essentially was called the Forest Array, leading into a big epic boss fight and some big plot developments. That then led into unlocking some new abilities, so now we were able to traverse way better, and we kind of went back to the hub town and did some stuff there, and then we actually did 1 or 2 optional side dungeons and explored around to unlock new abilities. So by the end of today's stream, I had unlocked essentially some really great new combat abilities. I had unlocked way more health, way more force powers, and some perks that you can equip that also make you better. So I was like a big upgrade day, lots of exploration, lots of fun in that regard. Of course, there was also story advancement, which was nice. By the end of today's stream, basically where we're at, we're ready to leave the first planet of Kobo. But the funny part about that is you heard what I just said. We're ready to leave the first planet. The first planet. Do you know how long the playthrough is right now? 14 hours long.
14 hours long because you spent about 8 of those 14 hours playing a boss that you could not beat, that you weren't leveled enough to beat that boss. It was the spawn of Ogdo, and then again the spawn of Ogdo and Ogdo Bogdo. 2 optional bosses that you didn't need to fight right away. They're bosses that once you level up to a point, you can go back to the planet and play them. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this, Phil, and everyone else keeps saying the same thing. These are optional bosses. It's not a roadblock where you just can't, if you don't beat it, you can't get past it and you can't do something else. This game is set up that way. This is not a linear game, Phil, where you just follow a path and get to the end. It's sort of open world where it allows you to explore the planet, do different missions, and then come back later once you leveled up and get certain force powers to then redo some of the optional stuff so that you can get skins, skill points, force powers, and so on, Phil. But you, like an idiot, decided, no, I'm gonna spend almost 8 hours fighting 2 bosses that you were clearly not leveled up enough to play. So when you sit here and say we're at 14 hours and we still haven't left the first planet, that's because you're a moron and you refuse to listen to your fans, your dents, and people saying those are optional. You're just not leveled up enough to fight them. But of course, no, you want to be pig-headed like you specifically say you are, and just keep doing the same thing expecting a different result. So that's why your gameplay is 14 hours so far. Technically, you should have been at maybe 3 hours. All that content that you did could have been done in one stream, Phil, if you would have just left those optional bosses alone.
And we're just leaving the first planet. And I've got to wonder, how long is this game? I feel like they really messed up the pacing.
No, you moron. You decided to fight 2 optional bosses that you weren't leveled up to fight. That's why it took you 14 hours, Phil. You spent 8 of it fighting these 2 bosses, and you've refused to just move on and just say, I'll come back for that once I'm leveled up.
Like, the first planet should have been an introductory planet to maybe just give you a few story missions and maybe 1 or 2 optional things, and then get you to the other major planets. Instead, we've been on it for, essentially like 12, 13 hours. That's pretty insane to think about. And now we're finally moving on from the planet. Now,
again, Phil, you've been on the planet 14 hours. I've been playing the game on PC. I probably got through the first planet in 3 hours. I moved on to play another planet, I leveled up, and then eventually came back and fought those bosses and beat them very easily. So my playthrough is probably 6 hours, and I've already pretty much went through 2 planets already, Phil. You're the only idiot taking 14 hours to play the first planet, Phil.
Now, sadly, I do have something negative to report. This game, even though it has now received 2 major patches, including one this morning that was 26 gigabytes in size, has not improved performance one bit. This game still has insane performance issues. The frame rate constantly chugs along and dips and chops up and looks awful. There's people who are complaining on my streams that they're getting sick to their stomachs trying to watch it because the frame rate is going like this when I'm trying to play it.
Well, it doesn't help that you have a crappy setup, Phil. It doesn't help that you're playing, you're capturing and streaming on, ancient PC laptops that are probably dusty as hell, dirty, and filled with bloatware and viruses. That could be it. I'm playing on PC and it's not bad. I mean, I have it locked in on 30 FPS on quality mode, and I stream it. I play it at 1440p, just because, and it's fine. It's not the greatest, but it's fine. It's manageable. I don't have all the problems you claim to have, Phil. And when I watch your streams, I'm not seeing those problems, Phil. I'm not seeing those problems. I mean, your stream looks shitty, but that's because your stream is just always crappy. But the game is fine. It's playable, Phil, and you just want to use it as an excuse. And the funny thing is, like you always do, you highlight it when the tips are low, just like you did yesterday. You started early on because you didn't get enough tips on your podcast, and you knew it was going to be a very slow day. And if it wasn't for 1 Minute Man, you would have been clocking $8 for like the first 2 hours of your playthrough.
That's freaking terrible. And even if you set it to the quality mode that's supposed to give you solid 30 frames, it still fluctuates. It's not solid. They still, in a week and a half of this game being out, have not patched it sufficiently to make it run well. In addition to that, the game is full of annoying bugs. For example, within the first 15 to 20 minutes of playing today, 3 major bugs. First, an enemy completely disappears off the screen into thin air. Second, I open a chest, put on a piece of equipment, and my game crashes. When it reloads, I lost 15 minutes of progress. That's the second time in the playthrough that's happened so far. This is leading me to believe it's going to be a running pattern of problem. And then number 3, I went back to that enemy that had disappeared. This time around, it didn't disappear. I actually had to kill it. And as I'm fighting it and I kill it, it floats and gets suspended in midair in a weird, contorted, floating death animation. It looks like this. It's like the game is good, but the game is completely unpolished. I described it well the other day. I said, imagine that you're someone, a hyper-intelligent person. You know someone who's a genius, right? But it's all book smart, because when they try to walk down the street, they trip on their own shoelaces and fall flat on their face. That's essentially this game. The combat is good, the story is good, the atmosphere is good, the puzzles and the level design is good, but the game runs like shit and constantly trips over itself and has a glitch and has a bug and has a game crash and has a frame rate drop. And it's like, what happened? This was supposed to be a AAA game, and this is what they pumped out for $70. It's embarrassing. The game's now almost 2 weeks old, and it still runs like dog shit. So, here's the thing. I really gotta ask you guys, do you want me to continue with this playthrough or not? Alright? Right now, the concern is time. Now, I don't want you to worry too much, because here's why.
The concern are the tips, and this whole playthrough has been pretty much a disaster. He has not garnered the tips that, of course, he thinks he should get for a AAA game. This has been pretty low. I can go back and take a look at what he pulled in for those streams for Jedi Fallen Order, and it isn't good. It isn't good. Many of them have been very subpar. So, you know, Phil is going to try to use the Wulong playbook for this, where essentially, remember where he complained about Wulong, how, oh, it's terrible game design, it's glitchy, I got stuck in frames, the camera didn't work properly. Remember all those things? And what ended up happening? He got to a point where the tips were terrible. I mean, the tips were always terrible for that playthrough. And of course, he started talking about, oh, the game is terrible, I hate this game, the performance is bad, I'm gonna quit it unless I get support. And then every single playthrough, right before he started the playthrough, he started early on during the podcast and essentially said, hey guys, if I don't get support on this, I'm going to quit the game. Remember that? He's going to do the same exact thing to Jedi Survivor, where essentially he's going to force the Dents to continue to pay him, knowing that once you kind of leave the initial planet, it does get a little bit better. The frames do get a little better, the choppiness gets better, it plays fine. But what he's going to do is he's just going to hammer the Dents over their head with him quitting this game unless they pay up. And that's what he's going to do. And he's setting the stage for that right now, right here on this. Well, he did it on the gameplay, and he's going to be doing it on the daily wrap. And I'm pretty sure when he gets back Thursday, he's going to have a segment specifically talking about Jedi Survivor and how support needs to get, support can't be abysmal.
We're about to talk about my late night stream, and we're going to talk about the playthroughs I'm doing there. Both Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster and Oblivion are likely going to end within the next couple of weeks. These playthroughs are winding down, and likely we're going to have night streams. Since that's the case, we would have more time to juggle games. Right now, I'm playing Elden Ring and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but starting this Friday is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That's 3 lengthy games that I need to juggle, and if I only alternate them on daytime streams, I'm never going to beat them. I'm going to have to start using night streams and utilize those to make progress in these games. Therefore, it makes sense that if I finish these nighttime streams of Oblivion and Final Fantasy V soon, we have these games now be alternated as night streams as well, alright? But the question I have to ask you guys is, do you want to see me continue with Jedi Survivor? We've played for 14 hours, we're about to leave the first planet and head to the next one. For what I'm to understand, there's 4 more planets in the game, and apparently 1 to 2 of them are lengthy and 2 of them are short. Okay, and people are even saying, yeah, the pacing's completely off. The short planet should have been first, the long planet should have been later. They did it the opposite. They screwed it up. So, what do you think?
He pisses me off. I just want to punch him in the head. The only reason why the first planet took so long, again, Phil, was because you decided to play 2 optional bosses and spend 8 hours trying to defeat a boss that you weren't leveled up for, Phil. That's the only reason. If it wasn't that, you would have played that planet for maybe 4 to 6 hours, which would have been fine, Phil. This game is roughly about 30 hours long, but the way you play it and you try to milk it and you just refuse to listen to people, this is probably going to take you 50 or 60 hours. It's going to take you double the time, and it shouldn't. It's something that should be done in about 30 hours, Phil.
Those who are watching the playthrough, do you want to see it continue? You know, support's been kind of a mixed bag. There's been some days when support's good and other days when it's slower, so it's hard to read.
There you go, folks. That's it right there. It's about the support. That's all it is. If he would be making $100 a tier 2 tip goal on like at least every other stream, wouldn't even bring it up. He would have simply just say, well, we'll keep playing it, it's not too bad, it's getting better. I heard it gets better after you leave the first planet. Let's keep going. You know, the game is solid, it has good bones, it just needs some, you know, a little bit of fixes, you know, so let's give Respawn a chance. And that would be Phil. That would be Phil every day playing the stream. But of course, since the tips have been a miss bag, since the tips have been abysmal, not even for this playthrough, but for his other playthroughs, it's a problem now. So now we have to get a consensus on whether or not we want to continue playing Jedi Survivor. And again, this is just, you know, another turd out of his playbook of, you know, creating a crisis and making it seem like he's ready to rage quit something, of course, because it's a bad game, unless, you know, he's incentivized to continue playing. And that's all this is. So check out Thursday. I envision him taking 5 to 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, to talk about Jedi Survivor, and he will talk about the tips and essentially say he'll keep playing it, you know, but he needs buy-in, he needs support. I'm positive that's going to be the thing. Anyway, I'm going to cut this short. I'm tired of hearing his voice. He's an idiot. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, check out my second channel, the Local TV channel. There's going to be some good stuff coming. The focus now will just be restreams, but we'll definitely populate more content. I want to start doing detractor of the day and highlight certain detractors. You know, maybe show some of their good clips. You know, just talk about them and highlight their channels. And yeah, so there should be some good stuff coming. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Peace out.